Good afternoon, it's your buddy Ryan here, joining you from the windswept mountains of Central California on the Moondance Homestead. Just wanted to give you a little 2023 orchard tour, and the reason we're starting out in my sunroom today is because I actually decided to add some tropical plants out here and some subtropical as well. I actually live in Zone 7, so we have some light freezes here. And since we're up in the mountains, we do have them with, pretty pretty good frequency throughout the winter, but nothing too crazy to write home about. It might snow and then melt that same day. But that means our sunroom's a pretty good place, even without heating it, to grow some citrus. So I'd like to show you a few things. Right here we have a Meyer lemon going. So it is actually setting fruit. I was very happy to find this so mature. I actually just bought this a couple months ago, potted it up, and boom, it's growing a bunch of fruit and flowers. So very happy about that. You can see new blossoms coming in. Right here is a blood orange. No blossoms on it currently, but it does have a bunch of new growth. That's all since I replanted it. Just a couple random house plants here and there, but you'll also see I've got a few banana trees growing. They're very little now, obviously, but over the course of 3 years, I'm going to try to keep potting them up, and hopefully I'll have bananas in my sunroom. That'd be very cool. Plenty of San Pedro cactus, something I grow just because I think it's really cool. Over here, I'm happy to have a finger lime. It's Australian finger lime. I've been looking all over for one of those and was willing to pay for it, and then I found it for like $20 at Home Depot. Very cool. And then the last one here is my key lime. So I have a lime, a lemon, a blood orange over there, and plenty of cactus. These are all some cacti I've grown from seed. This one was from a cutting, but I actually started this one out from a seed years ago. That's Peruvian torch. But let's move on out to the orchard proper. Got the Homestead dogs. Hi, girls. That's Rosie and Daisy. My chickens, they're just locked up for now. They get to free range most of the time, but didn't want them scratching up some compost I was working with today, and they will get into it. Just have a very primitive gate out to my little orchard. Okay, stay out of the orchard. Thank you, girls. So here we are. If you look at some of my older videos, you can see me planting my first trees out here, and it was pure desert. It was sand, completely, nothing growing on it. The ground was rock solid, and I've just spent the past few years doing this, spreading things like shredded boxes, straw, alfalfa, garden clippings, cut grass if I have any, and mixing it with rabbit manure, chicken manure, quail manure, and just literally building the ground up. I never water any of this grass. I do water the trees out here in the orchard, but not very long or very frequently with the way I have it set up here, because my first goal in doing an orchard was that I wanted it to be holistic and to save water. So I have literally covered this entire hill piece by piece with manure, animal bedding, straw, shredded cardboard, compost, all of that good stuff. When I first moved in, it was completely sand. We had bought this property sight unseen, and it had some good pictures, but when we got there, the reality was that this was completely eroded. It had turned into a man-made desert. So all I really did was add a bunch of mulch to the land and wait for the rain to come. And after 2 years of that, all I really do is once the grass sets seed, I go ahead and I cut it down. I don't do it all the way to the ground. I do it to the maximum I'm allowed to have it in my area to be fire safe. And I don't bag, I don't rake, I just let everything decompose on the ground, and the results speak for themselves. You look at the surrounding hillsides, people's properties by and large are fairly barren. We've had a lot of rain recently, but you can see, you know, nothing quite as lush as this. And as I said, I'm not, you know, I haven't watered this since probably October, and it's just been living on rain. I'll give you a little rundown of everything I've got going out here. This is a nectarine tree. I actually ordered it online a couple years ago in a box, and it is doing really well. It came just looking like a stick. Over here I have my lovely Mother Teresa grape, I believe it's called, or actually it's a Saint Teresa grape. I like to keep the tags on, you know, until they'll eventually deteriorate because they're not invincible. Over here I got the Bing cherry. Right here is a mulberry. This actually came in a box as well. Died to the ground in the first frost a few years ago and just grew back. So happy about that. This is a dwarf peach tree. It's called the Honey Babe. So I'm hoping the peach and the nectarine will pollinate each other. I think we might be looking at setting fruit this year, guys. Over here's my goji berry. It does fruit pretty nicely. Over here, I have a Bing cherry right next to a Nanking cherry. This is kind of a cherry that grows wild. In my home state, Colorado, these are all over the hiking trails down by the river. And we used to love riding my bike and picking them and having a few. Santa Rosa plum right here. It's hard to get plums in California. A lot of places where they grow do not ship to California for fear of bringing pests in, but Santa Rosa was developed in California, so I of course had to get one. So gooseberry, I love gooseberries. Gold-kissed apricot. Over here is Prunus americanus. That's the you know, Native American plum. It is a little devoured by grass right now, but there is my Yopon bush. I have a few of those. That's a Native American tea. Well, you can see, maybe you didn't see, there's a bumblebee visiting some of my plants. But this is a jostaberry. It's a cross between a gooseberry and a currant. See, over here we have a fall gold raspberry bush. And you can see some of the stuff has struggled, but that's, again, because the first couple years, this was basically desert. And it's taken this long to build it up. You know, basically been terraforming a dead hill. Here we've got a pear tree. This actually did set fruit last year, and I got 2 delicious pears. They were very good, and I grew them myself. Here is another fall gold raspberry. Just planted that yesterday. Let's see here. Have an Anna apple tree and another gooseberry. That's just a standard picks well. This is a Japanese plum. I believe the variety is, yeah, it's a Satsuma plum. We have a black raspberry down here hiding in the grass, but growing some very healthy leaves. Another Pixwell gooseberry. Over here, I believe this is a apricot tree. Yeah, it's a rival apricot, semi-dwarf. It's a Stella cherry tree down there. A Flavor Queen Pluot. And another Nanking cherry. You know, these are supposed to do really well on a slope as well. So, you know, part of the reason I'm doing this on the hill is to keep my house from sliding down into my field, since this was all sand when I moved in. And so, you know, I'm basically stopping erosion on this hill. Over here is a Hinonmaki red gooseberry, a Japanese varietal. This is another Prunus americanus. And of course, one of my favorite food forest plants here is horseradish. You can just barely see it. There's one horseradish. I have another one planted down here. It's coming up. And a third right here. So those will be good. You know, showing you kind of warts and all. The Yopond's not doing as good as I would hope. But here it is. It's still alive 3 years in. Let's see. It's another Hinan Maki red gooseberry hiding in there. And then a third Hinan Maki red. Now those came to me as just a bare root, so you know, they're doing pretty well, but I hope this year they'll put on some more stemage. Let's see, I think that's about everything. I've added a few more raspberry plants this year. It's shortcake raspberry and another one. Both those guys are thornless, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. And of course, the last thing we have here, this is just an apple tree of some variety. It was here when I moved in. It makes some tasty apples. Across the road, way in the distance, there's an apple orchard. So, you know, maybe it's a stray seed that, you know, a bird ate, pooped out over here, or maybe someone planted it intentionally. I have no idea what variety is, but they are tasty. Last thing you'll see, obviously I have those retaining walls are all garden beds. And down here we have a few that I built at the bottom of the orchard. And kind of the idea all the way through is this hill is like a big living sponge. So, you know, theoretically, each of these beds are inoculated with mushroom spores, and there's a ton of great, you know, worms living in there. This is all soil I've made from compost, hugelkultur mounds. So these are on year 2. They'll get richer and crumblier as the years go by. You know, over here we do have, a bonus fruit. This is my jujube tree. It looks dead, but don't worry, it's not. It's doing good. And then I have a cold hardy pomegranate tree here. So again, those are both ones that came in the mail as teeny tiny trees, so they'll take time. This bed I actually built from pallets, and you know, all of these have logs and sticks at the bottom from different trees I've cut down on our property, and you know, very, very fertile beds. Both of these two are made out of pallets. The last 3 are kits. We call these 2 Tetanus 1 and Tetanus 2 with good reason. There's, you know, tons of little nails and stuff on it. You know, I am not a very good carpenter, but these things I think might outlive me. They're super sturdy, even though they're super ugly. And the last thing down here, I always have geo bins going. This one's just kind of a worm bin. I'm not turning it at all. I'm just letting worms slowly decompose and cold compost this pile. I'll probably use this as a hugelkultur mound here in a few weeks and fill up a top layer of soil, and I use this as additional planting space. Maybe some extra corn or sweet potatoes. I'm not sure what so far. Anyway, though, yeah, you can see, I mean, going from completely barren to this lusciousness, you know, and this is plenty of fodder for me to go through and scythe for my rabbits. And so right now they're eating for free, and you know, a few more rains and I will be too with all this fruit setting. Thanks so much for watching.